Good morning, everyone. It's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. So, I have something a little different that I'm going to share with you today. I have been working on some last minute treat boxes for Valentine's Day. So, I put together these cute little treat boxes for my grandkids. And I thought I would share this idea with you because it's super simple and you can create these adorable little treat boxes. It has a little window in it. So I'll show you how to create that. And then you can also just create some pretty simple cards to just kind of go along with your treat boxes. So I thought it would be fun to just do something a little bit different. So I decided to use this treat box idea just to create treat boxes really for any occasion. I just wanted to be able to showcase that you can create them for Valentine's Day. Now, I know Valentine's Day is tomorrow already. So maybe you don't want to create Valentine's. Maybe you want to do something for St. Patrick's Day. Or maybe you just want to create little treat boxes and a cute little card just because. So that's what we are going to focus on today. So, good morning, everybody. Hi, Pam. So I'm going to show you how to make the Valentine's Day one, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about some of these other treat boxes and cards that I created. So good morning, good morning. I'm going to just move some of this stuff out of the way here so I have a little bit more room. So we'll move the St. Patrick's Day one. So this is what I'll focus on. The concept for creating the treat box is exactly the same. So I'm only going to show you how to create just one, and then we'll just kind of talk through the other ones. And then the same with the card. It's just a very simple little card idea. So the first thing I'm going to share with you is the template. So let me put my pieces back in, and I'll show you how this template works. So these are my end pieces here. All right, can you see this okay? Hopefully. Okay, so what I did is I just created a little template. I'll have this out on my blog after I'm done with the video. So I've linked to my blog in the description with this video. But basically, your template is you're going to start out with a 6 by 9 inch piece of paper. So you can use, in this case, I used designer paper, some pattern paper, or you can use cardstock. So, for example, this little rainbow one, I used some cardstock to create this one. So it doesn't matter what paper you choose, although I will tell you that it's a little bit easier with designer paper because you don't have to add additional panels. I added designer paper onto my cardstock. This is the cardstock box. But with the designer paper one, I just used the paper. There was no additional decorating that was needed. So just a little tip for you. So this is 6, and then this top part here is 9 inches. And so I started out on the 9 inch side, and I started scoring first at 1.5, and then I moved my paper over and scored at 4.25, and then I scored again at 5.75, and then I scored one more time at 8.5 inches. So all these black lines here are score lines. So then once I did that, then you turn your paper just 180 degrees. I got to put my pieces back on here in the template so you can see. And then you're going to score again at 1.5. So this is a 1.5 inch score line. And then you're going to score at 5 inches. Okay. So that's the basic scoring. And then you're going to go through and you're going to cut. So you can see I cut these little pieces out of the corner here. You just cut right on the score line and you remove these pieces. And then you cut on each of the score lines for the treat box. So I cut right here on the 1.5, and then I cut on the 4.25, and you cut right up to this other black line, which is your score line that you made on the side here. So you're basically cutting down the score line to the next score line for all of these. And then you'll turn it around and you'll do the same on the bottom. So this basically just creates all the little flaps for you for the box. And then we can go ahead and assemble the box. So I'll show you on my designer paper what that looks like. So I've already scored this piece of paper, and I'm going to turn it around because it's easier to see the score lines. At least for me it is. So you're basically just cutting on all these score lines. So I've already done the scoring. Since I provided you the template, I thought it would just be easier to just do all the scoring instead of flipping it. And we'll cut on this score line. So you're basically just cutting the top and the bottom part of the box. And then these little pieces, these rectangular pieces on the side, are the only ones that we're cutting out. All right, so these are the little pieces that we cut out. And then these are all the flaps for assembling your box. So you can see I have the exact same thing I just showed you, except without all the black lines and measurements. So that's the box. And then you'd fold on all these other score lines. But before I do that, we're going to create the window. So to create the window, your box is basically going to go together. I'll show you quick, like this. So this piece is, this little flap right here is going to hold your box together. It's going to hold the box together on this side. So I want to put a little window over here on this side of my box. So what I did is I just used my little punch. I have a little heart punch here. So I'm just going to scoot this in, hopefully. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just take it this way. I got to fold all these back so I don't get them in the way. So you're just going to fold on this little score line down here, and we're going to punch in between these two sections. So there's a score line here, and there's a score line there. So we're going to just punch in between there, hopefully. It always works better when you're not live. You know that? You guys know that. So let's line that up the best we can. And punch. And we're going to save this little piece. And let's scoot this out ever so carefully here. Of course, it's going to get stuck. There we go. All right. So we just created our little heart. You can use a heart punch. You can use a die. This will actually run through your embossing machine really easily. So if you have a heart-shaped die, that probably works a little bit easier than a punch. And then you won't get this little notch on the bottom because you have to fold this up in order to, punch that in the center there. All right, so then you just cut a 2.5 by 2.5 inch piece of a window sheet. And we're going to lay this right over this opening on the inside of our treat box. So we'll do that. And get my glue ready here. And then I'm just going to add some glue like on the outside edges of my little window sheet, just to kind of hold it. All right, we'll put that in there and give that a second to set up and dry. All right, so while that's drying, I'm just going to fold on all these little score lines. And we're going to adhere this little piece here. This is what's going to hold our box together. So we're going to adhere this first. So I'm going to add some glue on there. And then we'll bring this up. I'm using liquid glue so I can slide this to where I want it. And we'll just pinch that together a little bit. Okay, so that's the box. And then you just have your top flaps and your bottom flaps. So these little flaps just fold in, and then the one with the notch folds on top, and then this other one folds over. So we are just going to add some glue on this side and across the top. And then we'll just fold that over and let that kind of adhere. So if you use liquid glue, it just kind of gives you a little bit more wiggle room. You know, if you can use tear and tape or, you know, snail adhesive, whatever kind of adhesive you have. I just like using the liquid glue. It dries pretty fast and gives me a little bit more room to move stuff around. So that's what the inside of the box looks like. This is what the outside of the box looks like. And then you can fill it with whatever treats you want. You just fold these flaps over, and that's what your box looks like. And then I just took a little bit of ribbon. Even though I don't have treats in here, I'll just kind of show you. I just took a little bit of ribbon and I just tied it around the box. I cut this a little bit bigger than what I needed, but I wanted to be able to make sure I had enough. So you can tie this. I tied mine in a double knot and then it'll just slide off, or if your grandkids are like my grandkids, the kids will just tear it off anyways. So it doesn't really matter. So then you just tie your little bow. If you can. There we go. We'll straighten this out a little bit. There we go. So then you have your little bow, and then you can just adjust it however you need to and trim off the excess. So it's really cute. It's very easy to do once you have this template. Like I said, I'll put this template out on my blog. But once you have this template and you understand, you know, the cutting concept for this, the assembly is pretty easy then. So you can do this with any designer paper. It doesn't have to be for Valentine's Day. So that's what the treat box looks like. So I'll bring back the one that has the candy in it. So this one I created for one of my grandchildren. So I actually wrote her name on the back. I used that little heart piece from the front. So this is what we cut out of the window. So I used that on the back, and then I just used a little scalloped heart punch shape behind it. And then I just put her name on it. So that's what I did for my granddaughter. But I'm going to show you how to make a coordinating card. So you can coordinate your treat boxes and your cards. So I just made a very simple card design. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So you're basically going to just start with a piece of real red cardstock. I just use that because that's what coordinates with my paper. And then I just cut a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of white cardstock, and I embossed half of it. So I used one of the little heart embossing folders and I embossed this side. And then of course I did a little bit of my paper tearing over on the side. So I'm going to do that right away. You guys know I love my paper tearing. And then I just cut another piece of this designer paper. So this is the same paper that I used to create the treat box. This is just the back side. So this is just a 1 by 4 inch piece. And this is just going to go on the left side here because it's going to show through my torn paper once I adhere this. I'm going to move that out of the way. Then the next thing I did is I think this is 1.5. Let's see. Yes, 1.5. 1.5 by 4. So we'll just add this piece. And we'll put that right over that. And then I just have a piece of the same ribbon that I used to create the treat box. So I'm just going to add this to my card. Now this is really sheer ribbon. So I'm just going to add some washi tape behind here and just kind of hold my ribbon down on the back side of my card, or this cardstock piece. And I'm going to do the same on this side, because the ribbon is so sheer that the glue will show through. So I just decided to do that. So now we'll put this on our card. This is a great way to use your ribbon too. So I have about as much ribbon as I do paper. So I have a lot. Okay, so that's the card base. And I lost my little heart. Well, we'll just have to create one. And I just took my scalloped punch. So there's two different heart-shaped punches. One is a scallop and one is just a regular heart shape. And then you just adhere these two together. But before we do that, we are going to add a little greeting. So you can do a Valentine's Day greeting. I'm just going to do a happy to have you in my life greeting. So this is one of the greetings from the Sweet Conversations stamp set. We'll do a little bit of red. And we'll stamp that right in the center of that heart. And let's put these together. So it's really a quick and simple card idea. And like I said, you can do this with any of your pattern paper. You can create these little treat boxes and cards for any occasion. All right, so let's put a couple dimensionals on this. And we'll be good to go. And I used some of my leftover little heart shapes. I had some little leftover heart embellishments that I used to just embellish that ribbon and hold that down. So that's what that looks like. And then you can add some designer paper on the inside to create, to decorate the inside. So, all right, so let's put this one to the side. So this is, I'm going to just actually lay this right here so you guys can see it. So this is the Valentine's one. But then I created one for St. Patrick's Day. So this time I used a heart die. So I did this on garden green cardstock. And then I used some of the designer paper from, is it called Artistically Composed, I think. So this is what it looks like on this side, but I used this side to decorate my treat box. And then, so I adhered all my designer paper first, and then I ran this through the embossing machine 3 times to add these 3 little hearts. And then I just decorated it up for St. Patrick's Day, added a little gold bow, a little brushed gold in the back here. So same concept for creating this treat box as what I showed you for the Valentine one. The only difference is it's St. Patrick's Day. And then the card is the same concept. So when I cut out all these little hearts on my treat box, when I cut out all those little hearts, I used them then on my card to create the card. All right, so there's that one. Let's see if we can get them all on screen again. And then I think this one's my favorite just because I like the Sunshine and Rainbows designer series paper. So if you haven't seen this paper, this is the pack of paper that you can get for free during Celebration. So you only have till the end of this month to grab this pack of paper for free with a qualifying order. So I cut out one of the rainbows from the paper and again, used the same kind of concept, the same card design to create my very simple card. And then I decorated the inside as well. So that's the card. And then the little treat box. I actually used one of the In the Sunshine and Rainbows Designer Series paper pack. There's a couple rainbows that you don't get the full rainbow. You only get a partial rainbow, or you get a rainbow with the top cut off. So I just used that little partial rainbow to kind of decorate this box. It worked out perfect. So don't get rid of those little rainbows that are on the side of your designer paper because you can use them to decorate treat boxes or you can use them to make cards. So this is the one I created with the sunshine and rainbows. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed these little treat box ideas and these simple little cards. I just had a lot of fun putting these together. I know my grandkids will love the treats. They probably won't care too much about the box, but they will love the treats. So, all right. So I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday. I will get the template out on my blog right after this video. So within the next half hour to an hour, you should be able to grab that template out on my blog. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. Enjoy the big game today and have a very happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. I will talk to you guys again next week. Take care, everybody.